Live December 30th, 2017. Inspirational Nomad channel. My name is Sam. Every day I try to go live in between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. Somewhere within that time frame I try to go live, and I usually go live for at least an hour or so, depending on how things flow. For each live session, I pick a specific topic that I want to talk about, and as viewers join the live feed, I read their comments, and then we have dialogue. And I am open to talk about anything, not just a specific topic. I'm open to talk about sex, politics, religion, etc., because all these things encompass life. So to not talk about them is to not deal with life, and that's what my channel is about. Is about expressing myself, sharing what inspires me, addressing certain issues that are on my spirit, and with the overall mindset of going forward. Am I for everyone? No. Is everyone for me? No. So also, as the leader of this channel, I am responsible to keep the environment healthy for myself and for everyone else. So as I deem, based on my opinion and perspective, I will block anyone that I feel is disrespectful or that we're just on two different pages. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that I'm right and someone else is necessarily wrong. It just means that's what I have to do as the narrator of this channel. That being said, I want to get into the specific topic tonight. What I want to talk to you about tonight is three ways people control you. For people to push their opinion, to push their perspective, to push their agenda, for whatever reason, they control people based on manipulation. There's a few different ways to control and to manipulate people. The first is financially. A person who controls the money in a situation usually levers that, or uses it as leverage, meaning uses it as power to control a situation so it can go, or so it can end in the outcome they want. Financial. Money is the number one way, or one way. I won't put them in necessarily order, but I want to share with you guys three ways people control you. One is money. Money, financial leverage is a huge way that people get to push their way in life, in personal relationships and everything else. And that's why you have to be very careful, especially when you're young, because I fell into this trap myself. Borrowing money from family members, borrowing money amongst friends, and going too far in debt and overextending yourself. Why? Because once you do that, money is now controlling you. And someone who has that money, family member, friend, lover, bank, whatever, they have control over your life to a certain extent. They use it as leverage. That's all the way at the individual level, in personal relationships, corporations, and then it goes all the way up to the people that, run the world as far as financially. You think money is not a huge lever in how people get controlled? It's huge. It's huge. That's why financial freedom and living below your means is important for several reasons. I mean, I've talked about so many different reasons on this channel, but it does go back to the core message of when you are not controlled by money, you are more freer to be yourself, to live a life based on what you decide is best for you, etc. When you are under the obligation because you borrowed money from someone, you don't have that luxury. You don't have that freedom. And people know that. That's why a lot of times people, use that money. And so your ability to make money and then your ability to stay below your means and not to borrow too much money is all a key component in freedom. Freedom. The opposite of freedom is controlled. Controlled. And that's a huge lever. Be mindful of that in life. And be mindful of how this world operates. Because like I said, all the way from the personal level, all the way up to the very top, money is usually, if you trace back almost any topic in this world, money is usually traced back to the core pusher of why things happen. The next is emotional manipulation. Now, emotional manipulation is very much under the radar because emotional manipulation can be very subtle. But emotional manipulation, be very clear, it's a form of control. When someone takes away their praise, they're trying to control you. When someone says, I don't like you anymore, trying to control you. Because if they feel, now if they don't like you anymore, now you're going to do what they want, so you like them. That's why, if you're going to be yourself, if you're going to be a leader, if you're going to be somebody who if you're going to be someone who fulfills your destiny, you better not be worried about people's approval. Because people use their approval as a form of control. That's why plenty of insecure people will never be free. Why? Because as soon as someone takes away their approval, they change who they are. Sure they do. Confidence in who you are and what you're doing is very important. Now, certainly, you have to be humble enough to make sure you're being fair and just. But I want to be very clear. A people pleaser, what are they? They're controlled. They're controlled by the people's approval. That's one aspect of emotional manipulation, which is a form of control, controlling people. Sometimes someone will act like they like you, whether it's a friend or even like as a love interest. Why? To persuade you to do certain things. Now, sometimes if you get a text, a picture of somebody, it may not just be for you. It might have went out to many people. But the persuasion is, I want your attention. This is a means of getting it. I don't like you that much, but I need something from you. And to get that, I'm willing to give this. You understand what I'm saying? Guilt trip, another form of emotional manipulation. A guilt trip can be something as a subtle, sad tone. Oh, you're not coming? That's a guilt trip sometimes. Because 2 seconds later, that person can laugh and smile. Someone can be crying tears, and then in a blink of an eye, they can go to laughing and just brushing it right off. There is emotional manipulation as a form of control. People either take away their praise to control you, or they give you fake love to control you. People make you feel bad. Any emotion that is not based on the ability to be free, the ability to be confident, is a level of emotional manipulation. Religion can be a huge emotional manipulator. You think about it. When does the offering plate, when does the collection plate come around? Usually, which I've seen in many churches I've visited, usually after the praise and worship. Usually after the hyped up sermon. The offering plate usually comes around the most emotional time, right after the most emotional time of the service. Get people all fired up. Emotional manipulation. Or tugging at your heartstrings. Reverse psychology. God doesn't need your money, but to support his mission, send us your money. Reverse psychology. Patriotism. You damn right. That's emotional manipulation. It is. Gets people emotional. Of course, I mentioned it in one of my videos today. You want to stand for the flag, or if you don't, people get all fired up about that. Even though you have a right to do either one. You want to stand, you can stand. You want to sit, you can sit. You have that right. But it's an emotional topic. So, a lot of times people use it just to fire people up. President Trump even said, after he won the election, well, he's speaking very calm. He said, you have the ability to speak calm. Why don't you speak calm all the time? He said, if you speak calm, you never get anybody fired up. If you don't get anybody fired up, they never do anything. That's emotional manipulation. But all leaders do it. From the pulpit to the president. People, to some extent, that's leaders' job to get people fired up. Because that's the only way you get people to do things. So yeah, that's why I always tell you, be very careful with tribe mentalities, with pack mentalities, with people who don't preach. Think for yourself, do what you want as long as you're not hurting anyone. Because the opposite of that is, you have to do this. This is right. Well, you do whatever you want, but I don't know if that, you understand what I'm saying? Emotional manipulation is tugging at the heartstrings of your human instinct. Not preaching critical thinking. It's not preaching self-control. It's preaching pure, unadulterated, red meat emotion. Whether sexual, political, religious, doesn't matter. All those things can be emotionally manipulated to get something from people. I want your money. I want your vote. I want your attention. God loves you. He forgives all your sins, which I believe that. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. Now hand me your donation. Don't necessarily believe that. How people present that, how people do that. No, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Vote for me. Get a text. Hot looking chick. Hot looking guy. Middle of the night. Do they really care for you? Or do they really just want your attention because they're alone and they have anxious feelings? Joe Humphreys from the UK on a live comments. Hello, brother. How are you? Love and respect to you. So to recap, and I'm going to finish up on the third thing. To recap, 2 ways that people control you. One is financially. When you borrow money, or if you have a lot of money and you can sway your interest, money is used as a lever to control people and to push an agenda. The second is emotions. You get people fired up about anything. It could be about love interest. It could be about politics. It could be about religion. You touch people's emotional strings and you're able to move them. That's used to control people. Many smart people act dumb just to get people emotional and then to control them. Never forget that. You always want to be taught critical thought, think for yourself, and as long as you're not harming anyone, then you have the right to do that. Whatever it is. As long as you're not harming someone. You understand what I'm saying? The third way people control, and then I'm going to get to some of the live comments. The third way people control you is usually the last way. Usually. So first, if someone can't control you with their money, and if they can't control you with their emotion, what's the last thing they try to do? They try to control you with their physical strength. Bullies. They threaten you either with violence or repercussions. Physical intimidation. If someone can't intimidate you financially, if someone can't intimidate you emotionally, then they will go to the last resort. Physical intimidation. Never forget it. These are the signs of bullies. And bullies aren't necessarily always rah, rah, rah. Sometimes they're very subtle and seductive. But I'm trying to show you and expose and share with you these 3 ways that people control others. It's very powerful. Very powerful. And this is the type of things that'll keep you and set you free. Let me check in on some of the live comments. Joe Humphreys, love watching your live streams every evening in Britain. It's becoming a regular occurrence in my schedule. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. And always come and go as you like. I appreciate all my viewers, but I know there's a season for everything. So if you get to the point where you're not inspired, and there's certainly, I'm sure, going to be people, and there has been people, then you go your own way. I'm not for controlling people, but I'm thankful while you're here. I go forward. I want to be very clear too, because a couple people, every time I make a video about politics or something that I speak about, it divides people to a certain extent, and I'm okay with that because I'm going to be me. But I want to be very clear. I go forward, with or without people's approval, as long as I'm not hurting anyone. And this isn't. Never forget that. You got to have that mindset. Never forget it. Thank you, Joe. Maria, I'm early for change! Exclamation mark. Amen. I like that. Joe Humphreys, what have you been up to today, Sam? And then smiley up emoji. Oh, good question. Well, today I did do some traveling. I'm migrating my way back north from my vacation in Florida. So I'm headed back up to north. I have work obligations, but I'm not fully there yet. But like every day, I woke up at 5, did my walking. I did some sightseeing, just to different towns as I migrate north. Spent some time doing a couple things online for my work, as far as, and for personal. Made some phone calls, looked at some sites, ate some dinner, did a couple videos, and now here I'm doing the live stream on my structured schedule. And then in a little bit I'll get ready for bed. What did you do today? Maria says, Joe Humphreys, what time is it where you are? And then Joe's again from the UK, Britain to be specific. He said it's 2341, which is 11:41 p.m. and currently in the Eastern time zone, 6:43 p.m. Philip, hey everyone, hey Philip, how are you, brother? Maria, Joe Humphreys, you're a trooper! Exclamation mark. I couldn't stay up that late. And then 2 look like tired emojis. Joe Humphreys, will the live stream slow down when you go back to work in the new year? Well, I always leave flexibility. Obviously, I have to take care of myself first. That's the priority for everyone in life, because if you're not well, you can't do anything else well. But even when I was working full time, I usually still, on most days, still went live sometime between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. So I plan to continue to do that. Obviously, there may be exception days when I had a long day at work or something changed. But yes, I still do plan to go between that time period, sometime between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. And thank you, Joe, for joining. Joe, where are you based, Amaria? Amaria says she's in South Carolina, USA, Eastern time zone, so it's also 6:43 p.m. Amen. And that's an amazing part about YouTube, connecting with people from all over the world. It shows that this world is now, it's going global. It's been global, but technology has made our societies a global mindset. United conversation, and you're never going to go back to a world of isolationism, where other countries didn't know each other's cultures, didn't have dialogue, and that's a positive thing. Now, anything can be used for good or bad, so you always have to be mindful of that with regards to technology or anything. But the good news is, through dialogue, through conversation, there's growth and there's change. That's the bad part. People don't want change most times. Then there's also negative, but there's 10% negative, because you're always going to hear that 10% negative. But that's okay. Never let the 10% negative take away from the 90% positive. You have to be very disciplined in your mind to not allow that to happen. And you may fall into that trap, but then to pick yourself back up, you have to remember it's 90% positive. Joe Humphreys, are you a fan of soccer? ? If so, do you have a favorite English team? No, I'm not really a fan of soccer, to be honest with you. I don't really watch any sports anymore. When I was younger, I was really into sports. Basketball was my number one sport. And I liked football, which, would be called soccer across the world. Well, how does that work? Football, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you guys call that soccer. It's some type of thing like that. But basketball is my favorite for sports, but I don't watch any sports anymore. But when I was younger, I loved watching sports. What's your favorite sport, and who's your favorite team? Yes, I meant American football, Joe. Thank you. Amaria, passive-aggressive control is the worst for me. I agree with that. This is what Amaria says. And I should know. I used to be like that. I really try not to behave like that now. Amen, Amaria. Thank you for sharing. That's wisdom. And we've all, myself included, fall have fallen into these different traps of control, especially when you're younger. Because one is you have to go through the experiences of life. Two is you're a little bit immature. You don't know how to handle yourself. And so that's all part of growing up. That's part of maturing, and that's okay. I've been there. Definitely, I think everyone kind of gets in there financially. That was my first mistake, borrowing money from family members, overextending myself. And then that puts you in a position where, even if you're not, you're controlled. You're controlled. Just say you want to stop, being cool with somebody because you feel they're unhealthy for you. But if they've loaned you money, you can't really do that as easy. And then, with regards maybe to Amareya saying, certainly relationships. Certain people want your attention. They don't really like you, but they want your attention. And then vice versa. You want some sex as a guy, so you use the allure of, I like you, but you really don't like her. You just want something out of her. All those are controls. You're trying to control somebody to do just what you want. You are not trying to get into an equal relationship based on health and well-being. You're getting into situations that are based on emotional or financial manipulation. Same thing with religion. I mean, I saw that as well. Where religion is used, not necessarily all the time with bad intentions, because again, my spirituality, my faith, my teachers that have taught me different scriptures have been a blessing in my life, I want to be clear. But I've also seen a huge level of manipulation. Again, religion is a huge emotional string, especially when someone doesn't have a lot in life. If they don't have money, if they don't have a lot of support, religion is really used to control people. And that's why, sometimes people say, oh, religion is the beginning of, religion starts all these wars. It's not true. Not true. Wars usually are from the first symptom, financial. And then religion is used by the leaders to get people fired up to engage in war. Because usually the people behind those type of things are financial players. They have money and they have control. And then they're able to use religion to fire up people that have nothing. And then they sit in their palaces, and then the regular common people suffer. That's why, even though I believe in my faith, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus Christ, I believe in the separation between governments and, religion. You should have the freedom of religion, whatever you want to believe or don't believe. And government should be based solely on equality, equal rights for all. Because without that, you have a huge lever of control over the people. And a lot of times, what is religion? Guilt trip control. You did this wrong, you're going to hell. You did this wrong, you're going to hell. And so certainly you need morality, you need ethics, you need character. But those things are taught, and then you have free will to decide what you shall do. And then if you break a law that brings harm to someone else, then you're locked up. But the law should not be based on religion per se. You understand what I'm saying? So you have financial means of control, you have emotional means of control, and then when all else fails, you have physical intimidation. You have people that if they can't control you with their money or their emotions, they'll control you through threat of violence. And you have to be mindful of that. Not scared, not disillusioned by this world, but just be mindful of how these different triggers of control are used. Because again, I still believe 90% of people in this world are decent. It's the 10% that are not. And those 10% know how to control people. Because you think about it, the wicked people in this world, in my opinion, they're outnumbered. So the only way the wicked people can rule is through control of the decent people. And this is why I'm exposing the 3 ways people get controlled. Financially, emotionally, and then through physical threats. Be very mindful of these things. Joe says, sorry about all the comments. No worries, I love the comments. Sometimes it's like I'm not just talking to the wind. Thank you, Joe. How far do you drive on average per day then? Well, on average, it's probably about 100 miles, like when I'm around my job place. What I'm doing now to get back up north, it's about, I don't know what it is, like 1,200 mile trip. I know, I believe overseas you guys use kilometers. And the Jeep Renegade does have the option to switch from miles to kilometers. But so it's 1,200 miles. I don't know the conversion rate. So to get there per day, I usually try to do it in like 2 days. So just starting the process. So, whatever, it'll be like, the next couple of days will be about 700 miles per day, something like that. But on average, probably 100 miles or less when I'm in my local area and working. Joe Humphreys, I have no time for religion. Well, I think faith can. Well, let me read your comment. This is Joe. I have no time for religion. To me, it's just a cult. And the greatest proof of this is Scientology. Well, Scientology is not really based on a religious figure. It's really based on you. From my understanding, I could be wrong. I don't. But it's really based on self-knowledge, and you graduate towards different levels of religion as your knowledge of self increases. But I could be wrong on that. But one is I respect your opinion, Joe, and if you don't want to believe in anything, you shouldn't, and you shouldn't be intimidated or guilt tripped. Period. My just own self-expression is I believe in mind, body, and soul. I do believe spirituality helps. It has helped me. But that being said, I ensure that people who want to believe something different or who don't want to believe at all should be respected and have their right to do what they want, as long as whatever someone is doing is not harming someone else. I agree with that. Philip, 3 alien emojis. That must be Scientology. Philip, he says, I'm controlled, he says, and then he gives the arrow to the aliens. Joe, do you have any thoughts on Scientology? And it's a big thing in the States. Well, like I said, I gave my general thing on that, but I'm not informed enough on it. I know we talked about that briefly in one feed, but I don't want to speak inaccurately about it. I know very little about Scientology itself. And then Joe also asked, is it a big thing in the States? No, it's not really a big thing in the United States of America. In California, I would think probably would be, excuse me while I clean that camera. In California, it's probably, from my understanding, it's probably the biggest footprint of Scientology. Of course, Tom Cruise was the biggest person known to do it in the States. But no, it's not that big. I would say the biggest religion is probably still Christianity in the States. And most now is starting to evolve in just more spirituality, but Christianity is still the biggest religion in the United States of America. So again, I say all these things, financial, emotional, and physical intimidation, but I want to be clear, like, it doesn't mean any of them are necessarily bad. It's not necessarily saying it's bad to have a financial interest. It's not bad to have an emotional interest. It's not bad to have, well, I don't want to say a physical interest, but what I'm trying to tell you is obviously always take everything in context, right? It's not to say any one thing is bad, but it's to say that things can become bad when they're used as a form of control. Because again, freedom is love. Control is manipulation. Big difference. Maria says, politicians who use religion as a tool for their ambitions are rather scummy. Totally agree with that. And she says in her opinion, I agree with your opinion. They don't seem to walk the talk. And I despise that kind of dishonesty. I say, amen, Maria. I'm in total agreement with you. And that's one of the reasons why I speak up. A positive person's job is to speak up. Does that mean you're popular? Sometimes no. Jesus sometimes wasn't popular. And he spoke up against religious fanatics. And he was really, I go with, as long as you're bringing no harm to others, and they may not like you. I mean, you could be a peace-loving person, people still don't like you. I mean, it is what it is. The Apostle Paul said, do you think I do this for the approval of people? Of course not. If I did that, I would never be a messenger of God. Because I do believe they're true messengers, true prophets of God. But those people who are inspired by God, the true ones, they don't use their inspiration to control people. They use it to set people free from their insecurities, from their oppression. True divinity, true godliness is something that will set your spirit free. It won't control you. It won't manipulate you. It won't oppress you. And you understand what I'm saying? So, but that's very few that you meet that type of spirit. And so a lot of times what you meet is the worldly spirit, the spirit of control. And that's sad. Many are called, few are chosen. And the work is plentiful, but the workers are few. So it's not easy. You gotta keep yourself inspired. You do. Joe Humphreys just wondered because in Burlingame, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, there has recently been a massive Scientology church opened, and there is a lot of hatred over here towards the church. Well, that's what I mean. I mean, no, there hasn't been a huge influx, but that's what happens. Like I've heard here, I was listening to the AM radio, which I rarely do, but when I'm in other states, I try to get a feel. So in Florida, there was like a person preaching on like the Christian religious channel, and they were saying, it's your constitutional right to preach the Bible in your public school and to hand out pamphlets. Now, I would like to hear that Christian pastor say it's also the constitutional right of Muslims to hand out pamphlets of their faith and invite people to the mosque. They would go nuts. So same thing with you guys. Like, people are spreading Scientology now, but they have their right to do their church. As long as their church isn't preaching harming someone, then that's different. But, so that's what I'm trying to say. It's like everyone says like they want the right to be able to do what they want until someone comes next door and they uses the right to do something different in your opinion. See, if you believe in the right of freedom of religion, you can't just believe it when you're the majority in the group. You have to believe freedom of religion when you have a religion that moves next to you that you don't agree with. Now, again, certainly, if someone's preaching harming others, then you have a right to speak up against that. But there's extremists in every group. You understand what I'm saying? In every group. And so, that's the problem. But that's the problem, period. Sailing John from New Jersey. Hello, all. Sailing John. I saw a picture on Facebook from the Jersey Shore, and I saw snow on the ground, brother. Tell me that's not true. As I make my way back up north. Milano, Sammy, how are you doing, bro? Milano from Miami. I'm doing good, brother, overall. I feel a little uninspired because I have to go back up north, and I'm making my way up there slowly. And so I'm a little bit sad. I feel a little encouraged that, I got to spend a lot of time down here. I am looking forward to seeing my mom a little bit, and I, just spend a little time with her and go from there. I just got to keep my mind disciplined. Because, I got to get ready to adapt. I'm getting ready to grow, and I'm gradually going there, but I'm getting ready to adapt from 80-degree weather to 4-degree weather. So I do have a mind of adaptation and survival, but I'm preparing myself mentally. And it's a preparation because that's a huge change in a matter of 2 days that as I do this. So, but I'm very thankful. Overall, I say positive day. How was your day, Milano? Maria says, Scientology is controversial, but I guess no one is forcing anyone to join the church. Yeah, that's the main thing that I would say to Joe or to anyone else. I mean, if a church goes up in your community, and if that church isn't, preaching anything evil, I mean, as far as like hurting people, then, you got to respect their right. So I'm for that. Joe, Westboro Baptist Church is also, all caps he said were also, controversial. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of churches that are controversial. I mean, because I think, the understanding is, look, again, religion can be very emotional. And one way to control people is emotions. The other way is financial. Usually, churches also have a financial stake in the community. And then the final is, when those two things don't work, violence, physical intimidation. And so those are the three triggers of control: financial control, emotional control, or physical control. And it can come in all forms. But that's why it's the job of positive people, leaders, to spread light, not darkness, and to be a voice, not an echo, and to ensure equality, justice, positivity, even if that means you always don't have approval. Because a lot of times when people are under control, anyone who speaks of not being under their same control, they're a threat. They're a threat to their way of existing. Have you ever heard of, I forgot the syndrome. There's a syndrome. Somebody let me know. When someone would get abducted, like let's say a woman would get abducted very young. At the age of 13, a girl, God forbid, gets abducted by her captor. And for like 10, 15 years, she's abducted. And all she knows is being under control of this evil man. Then, after a period of time, the evil man actually leaves this woman in a house that's unlocked. So at any time she can get her freedom. But she doesn't go for her freedom. Why? And thank you, Amareya. She says it's Stockholm Syndrome. Thank you, Amareya. Stockholm Syndrome is when you have been under control for so long, both physically controlled, emotionally controlled, and even financially. You were brought up by this person. You were under their control. So now you don't even know what freedom is. And even to think of freedom is almost like you hate freedom because it scares you. All you know is control. And so you lash out at anyone who even tells you you should be free. You understand what I'm saying? This is a powerful message tonight. And, this is a seed planted for not just this generation, but for every generation to come. It's very powerful. Let me go back on some comments. Milano says, we as humans can adapt easily. We can adapt easily, but most resist adaptation. Most resist change. But yes, all of us have the ability to adapt easily. But change is not easy. Good point, though. Joe, think I'm going to look at the Jeep Renegade tomorrow. I love it, brother. Can't wait! ! Hopefully I have one to drive home tomorrow night. All right, Joe. Well, I was just thinking about that today. I was thinking, well, my Jeep still inspires me. It's been about 2 years now since I owned my Jeep. About a year that I've been living out of it full time. Joe, a couple questions for you. One is, what model are you looking at? The base model, the Trailhawk, or the Limited? And what color are you thinking about? Milano, good day so far. Stay positive. I like that, Milano. Milano from Miami. Amareo. Stockholm Syndrome. Thank you. That's right. Stockholm Syndrome is what I think about. Milano, afraid of the outside. That's right. That's Stockholm Syndrome. You're afraid of freedom. Sailing John. Yes. Sweeping off the snow. Oh, God. Here we go. Sweeping off the snow on the deck. ! Cold too! ! Another week, we'll forget about it. No worries. Time changes all. Amen. Good word, John. Thank you, brother. Good job. Good comment. Very positive. Thank you, John. Philip, Stockholm Syndrome. Thank you, brother. It's scary. I met people who suffer from it. Sad reality. Amen, Philip. Thank you for sharing that, brother. When you have been controlled for so long, you don't know what freedom is. And you lash out at people who preach sometimes financial, emotional, or physical freedom. I mean, you do. Because it threatens what you know. And it basically says that you've lived a lie for so long. And sometimes people don't even want to admit that they have lived a lie for so long. Now, even when it's not their fault. Like, again, because if someone gets captured and they get brainwashed and they get controlled physically, emotionally, financially, it's not their fault. But human nature is, now you've been controlled so long, you resist freedom, and you resist anyone who presents you with the opportunity of freedom. They're a threat to you. There's actually been cases when some people have seen like a captured person, and they go to freedom, and they say, "No, get the hell out of here. I don't want to go with you." You understand? This is all part of that Stockholm Syndrome, and this is part of life and how the world works sometimes, and that you have to be mindful. Joe, listen to me, brother. I want you to get what you want, okay? With that car, I want you to live well. I've gotten a Jeep Renegade, but don't go above your means, brother. Don't live above your means. Be financially free as much as possible. Get what you want, but be financially free. Don't be under control of others, including banks, including whatever. Now, but to be fair, I've done all that, so I don't want to be unfair to you. I was saying be mindful, because once you go on that car lot and you sit in that car, it's going to be very hard to say no. I made that mistake. I mean, all through my 20s, I got a little bit too emotional at the car lot. But it's all part of the process. I love and support you no matter what you get. Just let me know what you get, what type, what color, if you get one. Milano, Sammy, you ever see the Colorado Heimer with the ProMaster chassis? No, I know the ProMaster is the Dodge chassis. I don't know the Colorado Heimer. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But no, I haven't seen it. I mean, I've seen a lot of Class Bs. Oh, like still as I make my way up north, I see RVs everywhere. Mainly I've seen a lot of Class Bs, some Class Cs, and I've seen quite a few, not quite a few, but I've seen a few pickup slide-in campers. And then I actually saw a guy today at the laundromat. I saw him living in his Toyota Prius. I wanted to ask him if I could do a video, but I felt like it would put him like on the defense. It was a well-dressed, look clean cut, wasn't like, looking crazy. We both went to the laundromat, and you wouldn't tell by looking at him, but he had like a, I don't know, like a teal Prius, and he was an older guy, gray hair, gray beard, and all his Prius was all tinted out. And then once he had got all his clothes out of the dryer, he was putting them in his car, and he opened his back seat, and he had like a little mattress back there with his seats folded down. And I said, oh shit, this guy is living out of his Prius. I was so tempted to ask him, like, can I do a video of your setup? But I didn't want to be disrespectful. Because sometimes, like, you meet somebody on the road, if they're living out of their car or something, like, it's like a little bit like, you don't want to make them feel like awkward. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes I look, well, is the opportunity, can I ask them? So but I did notice that today. Milano says, it has everything ready to travel. 20 miles per gallon. That's actually pretty good. That must be that's a Class B then, Milano? It can't be. I'm getting right now, I do mainly highway miles, but Joe, you should know this too. I mean, I'm getting, right now it says I get 32.2 miles per gallon, but that's because I do all highway basically. I think on average, the Jeep Renegade gets about 25 miles per gallon if you do the city. Hey, Renee. Hey, Sam. Renee says, hey, Sam. Just got off work with a smiley face. Hope you are having a blessed day. Amen, Renee. I am having a blessed day. I'm thankful. Good job going to work and being productive. I hope you are having a blessed day. I hope you have a blessed night off. I thank you for joining me, and I love your positivity. Thank you for your comment on my video about financial people who only say they win financially. You have to be very careful. I first ran into that with gamblers going to casinos. Some of my friends, they would only tell me about when they would win at Atlantic City or a casino. And then you go to the casino, and someone who has lost all their money, they're sitting next to the crap table, and they're telling you what to bet on because they're sure it's going to win. People who only tell you about how much money they win, they don't win. And then as I got older, that's in the casino when I was younger. Then as I got older and I got into the financial markets and the stock market and trading, same principle. People would tell me, this stock is great, buy this. Or when I bought this stock, I made, however many thousands. But what I've learned is the people you really want to listen to are the people that tell you that they lost a lot. Because I don't know anyone who's being truthful that has only won a lot of money. Most people haven't, and statistics show it. Statistics show that 90% of people that actively trade lose money. And statistics also show that when you have a down economy, most people take their money out of the stock market, and then they put their money back in the stock market when it's already has gone pretty far up. And then, sometimes they make out, but it's statistically true that the stock market goes up on average through the course of its history. But which is also true is that when the economy tanks, the regular person panics and takes their money out. And rightfully so sometimes, because you don't know how long you're going to be into a recession. Right now the stock market has been up for like 10 years straight. So it's like, people forget, but and even if the market goes down, the stock market goes down for 1 month, people aren't going to care. If it goes down for 3 months, people aren't going to care. If it goes down for 6 months, people say, oh, this is a great buying opportunity. But if the stock market goes down for 2 years and there's no hope in sight, everyone will scare. So if it goes down for 6 months, people are going to be telling you the whole way, oh, it's a buying opportunity. And it may be. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. I'm just trying to say this is a human nature example. You have to take accountability for you. No one knows the future. A little bit of life is luck. But this was just a life principle that I've observed through life. And you have to be very mindful. Why? Because financial means is one way where people control you. Emotional manipulation is another, and physical intimidation is another. These three pillars are used to control people, and it will destroy your life. You want to live a life of freedom, not being controlled, but being free. That's how you become your true self. Milano says, Emilio has a video about it. Oh, okay, I'm going to check it out. He's talking about the Class B. Milano, was the RV ready? Milano, Pro Master by Cartier, Class B. Okay, I'm going to check that out. I'll check Emilio's video out too, brother. Thank you. Philip, I'm from Massachusetts. Class C campers are big here. Class A's, I'd say, come in second. Really? Class B's and pickup campers are in third. Well, one is, Philip, good comment. I like how you broke that down. That's very interesting. I like how you gave me the top three. I always like to try to do things in threes because that gives you the top 3 list. So good job, Philip. So Philip says in Massachusetts, which I visited there earlier in the summer, Class C campers are, he's saying, number 1, Class A's are number 2, Class B's are 3, along with the pickup slide-ins. So one is, Milano gave me a funny comment last night. He says, Sam, why don't you get a girlfriend and then buy a Class A so she can put all her stuff in it? That was funny. It made me laugh, Milano. Good job. Milano makes me laugh. But I would never want a Class A. But again, I gotta state that everyone's different. So that's just my personal preference. Doesn't mean that he's wrong. I watched one YouTube channel, I think, Motorhome Experiment. It was a couple that traveled in their Class A. Why did I start watching them? I started watching them last winter only because they were at the season. They were at the part of their journey where they were in Florida, and they were taking their Class A around, and that's what made me watch them because I love Florida, and I was thinking about living mobile, and they were in a Class A. I knew I didn't want a Class A, but I was still attracted to watch their videos. They only did a couple in Florida, but that's what had me start watching it. Yeah, Class A is very inefficient. I mean, I see them people like driving them. There's not too many. Well, down here, I've seen some, but they struggle to get in and out of parking spaces, to turn. I mean, it's just a struggle. I like Class C's, so I'm not surprised that Class C is number 1 in Massachusetts. I like Class C's. Now I like Class B's too, but it's tough if you have to, because you have to spend $100,000. Well, not necessarily. I mean, you could buy used, but Class B's are expensive. I'm gonna say that unless you buy used. But I'm not a guy buying used because I don't like to work on stuff. But I would like I like the small Class B or Class C. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying all that to say, nothing for me at this point can beat living out of a car, van or I like the car. But it's relative to what you want and what you like. Milano, do you do a shower and everything in your Class B? Are you fully self-contained? Do you go to hookups or do you mainly boondock? Milano, 20 foot long. 20 foot long is pretty cool. That's not too big. If I would ever get an RV, it'd be as small as possible. I like small, and it's just me. So, at one point in the journey, I may do an RV. If I did an RV, it definitely wouldn't be a Class A. Take that off the table. It would either be a Class C or Class B, and the smallest one possible. I think they have like a Class B plus, they call it. I don't know if that's bigger or smaller, but I've seen a small, cute one of those. But they're a lot of money. But I definitely wouldn't do a Class A. Milano says, his father told him the worst thing happened to you is win in the casino. Yes. Why? And I've also heard the same thing. Your father gave you good advice, Milano. I was also told the same thing. Why is it the worst thing to happen that you can win in the casino? Because if you win, you'll go back. And the more you go back, the longer you play, the more odds are against you. Your odds are already against you that the house wins. But the more you play, the house odds just keep going up and up. And so if you win, you're going to go back more because you're going to expect to win. Now, that happened to me. When I first went to Atlantic City, which is the casino area in New Jersey, it's kind of died down. I mean, it's still there big. But it was real big when I was coming up. It was like the Taj Mahal was booming. Taj Mahal is about to get destroyed now. But all that was booming. And so I went to the crap table. Craps was my choice of gambling. You understand what I'm saying? I still do some day trading, so that's gambling too. But it's a little bit more controlled. But either way, I'm at the crap table. And I wasn't even blowing. I was betting a field bet. Anybody knows craps. And they say it's a sucker bet, but to me, I wouldn't bet every one. I would just bet like one. Because it was the easiest one to understand. And I made like a couple $100. I mean, 20 years old, I went in there with whatever, I don't know, $70 something. I made a couple $100. You couldn't tell me anything. Now, the only reason I walked away with it too, because I was with an older friend. He said, Sam, you're up a couple $100. Let's get the hell out of here. Take it and run. Take it and run. See, he knew he had got beat up already by the casinos and by gambling, period. Sports betting is the new gambling. Now, it may not be in a casino, but it's sports betting. Fantasy football, gambling. But there's nothing wrong with that. I gambled. I mean, you can do a level of it. You just have to realize whatever you're betting on, you're willing to lose. It can get dangerous, okay? So, either way, I walk away with a couple $100. Now I got the bug. Now, every weekend, I want to go down to the casino and start hitting the dice. And sure enough, that's what I did for about 2-3 years straight. Now, I thank God that I always had the grace that even though I lost more than I wanted to lose and I lost more than I was expecting to lose, I always kind of had enough mental strength to not go too far in. But I saw some of my friends didn't have that mental strength. They got beat up. But then when I first started doing stocks, I got beat the hell up. I'm still at a net loss. Because I took such a beating in the beginning, but that's the only way to learn. Now again, I'm honest with you guys. I don't try to lie to you because I want to share things that'll set you free, not that'll control you. So that's the thing. I mean, you can really get hurt, but it's almost like you have to get hurt a little bit, because if you don't go through that experience, you don't understand. And anytime you're controlled financially, emotionally, or physically, you're going to get hurt. So you just got to be careful with gambling in general and taking risk in general. You have to take some risk in life, but you got to be careful because, like I said, it's just another means of control. So if you go in the hole big time financially, you're going to be subject to not being yourself. And you're going to have less freedom to be you. And that's not good. I've lived that life. That's what I'm sharing with you. It's not good. Okay? Let me go back to some live comments. Milano, the rest is just losing money. Amen. Milano, me and you on the same page, brother. That's my guy, Milano. Makes me laugh too, man. He made me laugh with that Class A comment. Like I think I woke up this morning, and I was at Starbucks. I was reading my comments from my guy that night. Of course, I always get one or two that are fucking crazy. I got to block somebody. And then it was like, it was Milano's comment. It made me laugh. It was just funny. He was talking about that buy a Class A and let a girl move in with all her stuff. It made me laugh. Renee, I know when Renee says, I know when the market was going down for a few years back, I stopped looking at my 401k because she said she saw it go down. Yeah, that's painful, especially when it goes down for a period of time. And everyone, their mother was telling you to take it out. I remember Jim Cramer went on TV, said everybody should take their money out. And then after the stock market got up, he goes, well, you didn't hear when I said put it back in? Fucking another hypocrite. If you're going to do stocks, let me tell you this right now. Don't listen to CNBC or any financial advisor. I mean, you just got to be willing to know what you're doing, and then, that's it. Because everyone else is an expert until they lose money, and then they all run for the hills. It's all entertainment. You can't buy into that hype. And I'm sorry, though, let me finish reading her comment. She said because she stopped looking at her 401k. Thank you, Renee, for sharing this. She stopped looking at her 401k when the stock market went down because, she stopped looking at her 401k because the stock market went down. And then she says, you have to ride out the stock market. I have now recovered the losses and even gained. Oh, yeah. I mean, you definitely gained. I mean, the stock market, I think, went down all the way to 6,000, 7,000. Now it's at like 25,000. The problem is a lot of people didn't do that. And the problem is, too, is when you have short money, meaning when you don't have that much money and the stock market goes down, you're going to take it out. That's why usually richer people stay rich because, anything in the market is, rich people always have a couple 100,000 minimum. I mean, they usually have a few million laying around just in cash, just to cover them in case something goes crazy. The average person has already borrowed. I'm going to do a whole video. I got to get the statistics. Somebody Google it if they're on Google. What percentage of the average person borrows against their 401k? I would think it's got to be like 50%. So 50% of probably society already borrows against their 401k. So start right there, and then there's probably another 30% that barely can afford to put any in it. Really probably only about 20% of society has enough money to let it ride. Now certainly there's exceptions where people are wise. They're able to let it ride. They can go through the pain and then the market does improve. But timing's everything. Timing's everything. I know people in the early 2000s, and even before the recession in 2006, there were millionaires on paper. And so they would have been writing the same comment that Renee's writing now. They would have wrote me that in the 90s, they made a lot of money. Then when the tech boom busted in 2000, around the early 2000s, they lost a lot of money, but they rode the market out, and now it's 2005, and they're doing great again. They're gained. But then if they didn't take the money out and they waited until 2007, they would have lost again. Timing is everything. Who can predict the future? No one. So in 3, 5 years, 2 years, 3 months, I mean, the market could go back down, and you can go back to a loss. Or in 3 years, it could double again. I can't tell you. No one can tell you honestly. You understand what I'm saying? That's why they say that. That's why right now, as a default in America, they put most people in an automatic target fund investment, meaning based on your age, you're in a target fund for that year. based on when you would retire at 65 or whatever. And as you get closer to retirement, a higher percentage of your money goes out of stocks and into bonds, a more safer, less risky investment. It automatically does that reallocation for you. Because, when you're like 10 years or more before retirement, they leave most of it in an index fund and most of it in stocks. So that's what a target fund is. It just automatically reallocates your money. But there's no way to tell the future. In the next year, if the stock market goes down, that's what I'm saying. Nobody knows. But on average, the stock market goes up over time. The question is, what time are you going to retire? Where's the stock market going to be then? Et cetera, et cetera. But no one knows the future. I try not to tell people what to do with their money. I share my life experience. Everyone has to make their own decisions. Because if you don't make your own decisions and you listen to someone else, if they lead you astray and you lose everything, you're going to resent them the rest of your life. Listen to everyone, critical think for yourself, and then you make the decision and you take accountability for it. That's part of living a life of freedom. Everything else is control and manipulation. How are people controlled? Through financial means, through emotional means, and then through physical intimidation. Those are the 3 ways people are controlled. Be very careful. Milano. Yep, Class B is more expensive, like many there. Yeah, Class B is the most expensive. Because probably it is the most desirable. It's kind of like the best of both worlds for most people, not for all. But for most people, they don't want something too big. They want something pretty good on gas mileage, but they want all the amenities of a home, meaning they want a shower, they want a bathroom, they want a little kitchen, and that's what a Class B offers. But it comes with a price. It comes with a price, but it's a beautiful piece of machinery. And that's all relative to your age, to your life circumstance. Like I said, I think Milano's close to 60. From my comments that I wrote him, or in his 50s. So for him, when I was at that age, I may do the same thing. I don't know. You want more comfort. You're doing less stuff outside. You may not want to, go to Planet Fitness to shower anymore. So everything is relative also to the season of life you're in, just like a target fund. And so it's all relative. And it's all relative to the amount of money you have, the amount of money you want to spend, et cetera, et cetera. It's all relative. And there's no one right or wrong answer. I just try to say, live below your means so you're not controlled. And as long as you're not hurting anybody, do what you want. If buying a Class B is good for you, I say God bless. If buying a Jeep Renegade is good for you, I say God bless. No one knows you like you. And I want people to live their life. And I support that. Renee says in her comment, I watched one of your videos about how you don't want to clean, and laugh out loud, she says, and then laugh emoji. That's why I'm getting the Class B. There are a few that are worth the price. I'm not mad at that. Yeah, I don't want to clean. I think about that every time I throw a trash bag out in the public trash room, and I don't have to do any dust. Today, when I did my laundry, once a month or once every other month, I wash my sheets. Other than that, I just go to the laundromat once a week to wash my clothes. But the once a month I go to laundromat because I have to spend extra time there to get all my sheets out, and then got to put them in the big laundromat thing. Got to pay more money, got to wait for it longer. Even that, I said, damn, good thing this is all I have, because that's all I want to take care of. The more you have, the more you have to take care of. And that's something to think about with every purchase. You get more, but to whom much is given, much is required. So Class B, you won't have to clean as much, but you're you're still gonna have higher maintenance cost than a van. It's still gonna be maybe harder to get repaired than a van, but you're gonna have a lot more amenities, and that's especially too for a female. And Renee, you know your situation better than me. You worked all your life, you just got off of work. I'm not mad at you. I see a lot of people living a beautiful life out of Class B. Milano lives a beautiful life out of Class B, and when I'm at that age, I may too. So I'm not mad at the Class B. Yeah, I seen quite a few people down here with Class Bs, man. Real nice, too. I would like to go inside a couple. I've been inside a couple on the dealerships. I was inside a Road Trek. It was $120,000, listed brand new. And it was just an 18 van pimped out. I was like, damn, that's a lot of money just for this van. They're a lot, man. The brand new one's a lot. Let me get back to the comments. Milano, yeah. I hear that, Milano. And then Renee says B plus is bigger than the B. Okay, is that how that works? Thank you, Renee. I must have saw, when I was in the Jersey Shore over the summer, there's a guy with Florida plates. He only comes up to the Jersey Shore in the summer. Every year he parks at the same spot in the street. I guess the cops just let him chill there. But or somebody he knows owns the house, and that's he's able to park in front of it. And he has Florida plates, and he has a class. It said a B plus on the side, but it was a small, compact one. It looked smaller than a B, but the thing was hot, man. I tried to write down the name of it, but I forgot to do it, or I did write it down and then I erased it. But it was an awesome Class B. When I go to Jersey Shore this summer, I'm gonna write down which one he had. I mean, I'm sure it's 100,000, new, easy. But it's a beautiful Class B. I don't remember the type it was though. Milano, I do everything here. Yeah, Milano's self-contained in this Class B. I mean, I'm not mad at that. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. I'm not mad at that. Shower, shit, everything. I mean, that saves some money too. I mean, you don't have to go traveling around. So your gas mileage is higher. You burn more gas, but you have to do less traveling because you're self-contained. But at this point in my life, it may change. I like movement. I don't like staying in the same spot. But that changes as you get older a little bit. So it's all relative. Milano says, casino is just an entertainment. That's right. Having fun, not making money. That's right. That's right. Casino is definitely just entertainment. Now, back in the day in Atlantic City, like, it was real entertainment. Like, you go in the casino, all the waitresses are beautiful. They're in short skirts. They give you now free drinks. And then everyone was able to smoke in the casino. I mean, it was a whole scene. Now you go in there, it's like a graveyard. It's like the last of the baby boomers giving all their money to the penny machines. The few casinos that are still left. And it's sad. I mean, I go there a little bit with my mom sometimes, spend quality time with her. But, I mean, Harrah's got like the Harrah's pool, and they got some young crowds there. Borgata's got a couple like young events. I mean, I'm not mad at it. People want to do it, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't have that itch anymore, but that itch is fulfilled. I do a little bit of trading once in a while. So, I can't judge. It's basically the same, just a little different. But yeah, that's what I was talking to. There was this guy a couple months ago, and he was talking about he goes to Pennsylvania because now Pennsylvania has a lot of casinos. I mean, every state's getting to that point because every state needs more revenue. Everybody wants more money. Money is a way to control people. But he was talking about he went to a casino in Pennsylvania, and that's what he was saying. He was saying he got beat up a little bit. He goes, but that's what his father always taught him too. He said, if you go to the casino, just always know it's just for entertainment. It's not for making money. And if you're willing to lose your money, then, just enjoy it. Same thing with strip clubs. All right? So it's all the same thing. You're right, though, Milano. Milano, the ad for the cereals are too many American casinos. The ad for the cereals, I don't understand that one. Cereals are too many casinos. Milano has a... Oh, Milano, you have a B+? I know Milano had the right one, man. Milano's got a nice RV, man. Milano, that's my guy. Milano's got the B+. He's living big in Miami. Holiday Rambler. Augusta, 22 foot long. Beautiful, man. Milano's got a very nice RV, man. I like Milano's RV. Awesome. Class B+. Milano. Some Class B+ cost over 100 grand. Oh, easy. Like Sprinters. Yeah, I don't like the Sprinters. The Sprinters with the Mercedes chassis, I don't like them. And then he says the road track is good, but costs a lot. Yeah, the road track to me was way overpriced. I went into one of them. There's a dealership in a township called Lakewood, New Jersey. And I went to check out. They had some road tracks. Because there's not too many RV dealerships in New Jersey. Because it's not like down here. Like down in Florida, there's RV dealerships all over the place. Because it's RV Central. Some people just live in that lifestyle, but not in New Jersey. Why? Because there's not even camping all year round in New Jersey. In New Jersey, campgrounds close after Christmas. There's 3 months that technically you can't go to campgrounds. Campgrounds close from January, February, and March because it gets so cold that RVs aren't rated for that cold and they don't allow the camping. So I don't know if anybody who's never visited New Jersey knew that, because there was one when I was looking at getting an RV last year before I lived full-time out of my car. I was looking at getting a small tab trailer or A-frame. Anyone know what an A-frame travel trailer is? And I went to a couple campsites in New Jersey. They were renting like sites for like $500 a month. And it was actually in a decent spot. But that's what they said. They closed after Christmas. And they were like the latest ones open. And they don't come back open again until April. Let me tell you something. You don't want to be in New Jersey as far as with weather in January, February, March. It's cold, shutdown. New Jersey, New York. I mean, I travel in between those two. It's a shutdown, man. beautiful state. Every state's beautiful, but it's fucking cold, man. And RVs are just like houses. Like when I grew up in my house, the pipes in the garage, they bust a couple times. Why? Because we didn't have the heater on in the basement. And when you don't have the heater on, it's cold as hell. It's like 4 degrees outside. Those pipes bust and water went everywhere, man. It's horrible. It's horrible. So it's a whole different monster, man. The environment matters, man, big time. Sorry, I got a little bit in a tangent. Starpack, what's going on, brother? Starpack said he's here. Exclamation mark. Sorry I'm late. No problem, Starpack. Good to have you, man. I always enjoy your voice, man. Peace and love to you. Starpack's in the building. Milano, you can buy at least last month ProMaster Cardo Hummer for $59K. That's a lot though too, Milano. 60 grand, but that is like the cheapest you can get. Now I made a video about a Sunseeker Class C a couple months back, and somebody left a comment on it like 2 nights ago, and they said, Sam, it was listed for like 90K. And that was also, I think, in Lakewood, New Jersey. And they were like, Sam, that same one listed for 90 is selling for 59K. I don't know where he was at, Wyoming or something like that. So, I mean, every state is different too, right? Because up north, they charge a little bit more. Why? Because, you get paid, more, there's more jobs as far as like economics are different in New York, New Jersey area. There's a lot of big money up there. So, it's just different. The cost of living is higher, so that people can get more for shit, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all relative to what you buy. And just remember too, like, and that's what I learned too the hard way with cars, is that the sticker price don't mean shit. You should be able to get at least 10 to 20% off, at least the sticker price. At least 10 to 20% off. Not always, but that should be your goal, in that range. Now, if you can get anything over 20% off the sticker price, I said that's a good deal. That's a good deal. Okay. So if a car was listed for 30 grand, 10% of that is 3. So 27 grand is an okay deal. But if you can get that thing, for 24 grand, that's a good deal. If it's listed for 30 on the sticker, getting that for about 20% off is a good deal. Okay. Don't forget too, now, whatever you get off that sticker, then you still have to pay taxes, state taxes on that, and they're going to get you with the DMV fees and all that shit, which is usually $1,000 to $1,500. Okay, so just be mindful of that when you're doing your shopping. Back to the live comments. Milano, I got my RV from El Mesa Port, St. Lucie. I like St. Lucie, one of my favorite parts of Florida. If I have a home base, it may be in that area. I have to check out that dealership. I didn't check that one out when I was there. I wasn't looking for RVs, so I didn't really. I was thinking about going to a camping world when I was, but I was like, I'm not looking for RVs at this point in my life. It'd just be cars. I still want to live out of a car. I don't want to do RV yet. But I like that area, brother. Port St. Lucie, it's a hot area. I like it. It's just it's good area, peaceful. I like that. Tony Williams is here. What's up, Sam? Hey, Tony. Thanks for joining, brother. Appreciate you, man. Good evening to you. Renee, I don't gamble, she says, but went with some friends to a casino. Okay, it's not right. It was crazy to her. She tried quarter slots and lost $10. I was mad. And then she gives like the sideways face emoji. She said, not for her. Laugh out loud. And then the laughing emoji. I hear that, Renee. Let me tell you something, Renee. If you just lost only $10 and you walked away, you won. You understand what I'm saying? You won big time. So, Renee, you're smart. You're a very smart woman. Let me tell you that. Because I lost way more than $10. Okay? I don't know. How much did I lose in the casino? In my early 20s, probably somewhere between 10, I don't think 20 grand, but it's probably somewhere between 10 and 15 grand. I'm just guessing, just to give you some perspective. You can get hurt, man. And that's in your 20s. And that's all part of the reason you get buried in debt and everything else. It's just crazy. Milano says he parks everywhere. Publix, Winn-Dixie, gym, Class C, too long. For him, 24 foot. That works. That works. Yeah, I've seen Class Bs and Class Cs. I've even seen a couple Class A's parked in those parking lots. Yeah, it's like everything else. It's like if you're a respectful person and you don't abuse like the one or couple night rule and you keep it moving, then that's all part of love. And businesses and the community like that. Why? Because every time you park there, you're going to go into Publix. You go into Publix, you go into the supermarket, you go into the gym, you use and you spend money in that community. And that's like your tax. Okay, so that's why Walmarts, and that's why certain communities allow the not living, but the one night stays, the 2 night stays. Why? Because you bring money. You pay for gas in that community, you buy food in that community, etc., etc. So as long as you're respecting the laws and you're respecting your environment, communities on average, they like the nomad because you're bringing money. In one sense, you're a nonstop tourist. Now, you're not a tourist where you're going to buy a Disney cotton candy, but you're a tourist where every day you're going to go into Publix, or you're going to go in a gas station, or you're going to go in a Wawa, and you're going to buy goods from that community. And that's a tax. That's a net revenue for them. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. For most communities, as long as it's a law-abiding citizen, they want that. But the problem is, like everything else in life, you have people that abuse it, that don't buy everything, that stay past the time they're allowed, and don't pick up after the trash. And it's like everything else. Again, like I always talk about, you get the 10% bad, and then that wipes out in a lot of people's mind the 90% good. But there still is 90% good, but 10% bad sometimes makes so much noise that you forget the 90% good. And then Milano says he paid $2.75 laundry a week, $1 to dry. Well, that's cheap. They got me today, but I was in an area where I couldn't help it. What did I pay today? Well, I had to do the big wash because I had all my sheets. So for the big wash, I paid $5.50 for the wash. But again, this was the big washer because I had all my sheets in there. And then for the standard wash, now when I was in the Port St. Lucie, I had a cheap one I found. I only paid $2 to wash. But when I was in the area today, I had to pay like $3.25. They got me. That's high. So it's all relative to where you're at and what community. But it is what it is. I still like the laundromat. Why? Because I don't like to be responsible for a washer and dryer. I had that for 15 years. I had a washer that had a leak. I had to replace the washer. Every year when I had a dryer in my condo, I had to get the dryer vent cleaned per the HOA requirements, and then I had to present the inspection to the HOA, the homeowners association, because they carried the liability insurance for the outside. So, washer and dryer is like every other thing. It's just more maintenance. And I like the laundromat because if the machine don't work, I go to the next one. And I just put my change in. I go for a walk. I do whatever. I come back, and that's it. I just have enough in one bag, and I don't ever have to worry about maintenance on a washer and dryer. And all together, I think I did a video on like how much I spend on average at the laundromat. It was like a couple $100. I don't know, maybe $300 max. So it's about $300 maybe if you get the cheapest appliance, just maybe for one washer or dryer, maybe, usually $500. And that doesn't include the utility cost that you're going to have with them, the maintenance costs, and I don't want that shit anymore. I like the laundromat. For a period of time, you get scared of the laundromat. You think the laundromat is some spooky place because society got to the point of where if you don't have a washer and dryer in your house, like you're living in the archaic time. And I almost bought into that society mindset. When I was, let me breathe a little bit. When I was looking at downsizing, and I started looking at the smallest condos I can find, many of them, some of them, because they were so small, they were like studio apartments almost, or efficiency units, what they call them. They didn't have washer and dryers. And I was like, oh, that's a deal breaker. I don't want to buy a condo and not have a washer and dryer. Now, if you're going to buy something and spend over $100,000, I mean, it's understandable. But I had gotten to that society mindset, like going to the laundromat is like crazy. I don't know why, but I'm being honest with you. That's what I did. I thank God I don't have a laundry, and I thank God I don't have to take care of a washer and dryer. I thank God that I can go anywhere, anytime to a laundromat. Most laundromats are 24/7. They have free Wi-Fi and they have bathrooms, and you don't have to pay to take a shit. You got a toilet, and you don't have to clean that toilet. You have free Wi-Fi. You don't have to pay a monthly cable bill of $60, and you got washers and dryers. You got about 100 of them in one store that you never have to maintain. All you got to do is put $2 worth of coins in. There's a coin machine. You're out of there. That's it. I love that. I love low maintenance, B. Changed my life for the better. Thank you. Let me get back to some comments. I'm sorry I got off to my tangent. Milano says, it's like my house. He's like, it's like my office house moving. I agree with that. I had a guy I was working with, and when I first started the nomadic life, or when I was thinking about it, he said, Sam, why don't you just live mobile? And then I also, when he said, what happened when he said that came to mind also, was, did you ever see the movie, well, I'm sure you saw the movie Die Hard with Bruce Willis? And then one of the newer ones, because there was like, he did a couple sequels, and then one of the ones a couple years ago, he did the sequel where there was a massive cyber attack launched from an ex-CIA agent. I forgot the name of it, but it was a sequel of the Die Hard. And the ex-CIA agent bad guy who was performing the cyber attack, he was basically traveling around. He was living nomadic. And it was like a Class B. It was all black Class B with all the computers in it with like an antenna, and that's how he was hacking shit. And that's what came to mind when my friend said you should live mobile. I said, just like Milano saying, like, the vehicle is your office. And that's true. I mean, this vehicle is my home, and I love it. I mean, I just had to share that. That's what comes to mind. John Clary, what's up, Sam? Hey, John, good to see you, brother. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate that. Good to see you, John. Milano, casino drug dealers, they dump the money there. They don't care losing. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I've been there, seen that, done that. And, it's all part of the game. Like I say, if you step foot into a casino like I have, like I did, like I do sometimes with my mom, you just gotta know it's just entertainment, throwing your money away. Same thing as a strip club. Some people do it, some people enjoy it. I say God bless, as long as you're living below your means and that's how you want to spend your money. Again, I go back to, if you're not harming anybody, you gotta do whatever you want. And then Renee says, talk about control, 3 exclamation marks. I can't stand HOA. And then she gave like the mad face emoji. Yeah, HOA stands for Homeowner Association. Now, I was part of a homeowners association because I owned a condo for 15 years, and it was in a condo community. It had an association fee of $295 per month. It was a beautiful community. It was gated. It had a pool. It was a great community. But, I mean, you get what you pay for. I'm not going to lie to you, though. I mean, if you average it out, if you had to pay for your own lawn care, if you had to take care of your outside, they constantly took care of the outside. They did all the snow removal. They took care of the roofs. They took care of the pool, jacuzzi, tennis courts. So, to have all that stuff, if you had to pay for it yourself, it would end up being the same thing. See, a lot of times, but the problem is you don't have 100% control. You're in a shared community. So it's all relative on what your personality is. But my mom used to bitch about that, but I said, Ma, you had a house. How much did you spend for the lawnmowers? How hard was it to mow that lawn? How hard was it to remove the snow, to fight who's going to remove it? The siding in our house, I mean, the roof had to be replaced. The bricks were falling apart. So I said, Ma, if you average all the cost that you had to spend outside, it's the same thing as an HOA fee. But a lot of times people don't look at that. People look at like the HOA fee as a waste of money. It's not a waste of money. If you had a single family house, you would end up paying on average very similar. The problem is, if you have the type of personality where you want total control, then don't go to HOA because you're in a shared community. So again, I go back to every decision is based on knowing yourself well. And when we're young, we don't know ourselves well. We're still figuring out ourselves. So it's understandable that we make mistakes and that we learn as we grow. Same thing with selecting an RV or mobile lifestyle. Know yourself well. Are you the type of person that likes to drive a pickup and you want to do a travel trailer? Are you the type of person where you want a Class A? Are you the type of person you want a Class B? Are you the type of person you don't want any of that, you want to live out of a car? There's not necessarily a right or wrong. The decision is based on knowing yourself, knowing your situation, and doing what's best for you. Okay, so that's what I've learned in life. Renee says, HOA is the new mafias? No, they're not that, but I hear you. Renee. Good comment. John Cleary, smash the like button. Amen. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I appreciate all likes. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. Thank you, John. Milano, me either. Milano, sprinters are narrow. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the sprinter. Way overpriced. I definitely agree with that. To me, like a Mercedes, when I see the Mercedes chassis on a Class B, it just doesn't fit in my mind. Why? Because when I think of a Mercedes, I think of like, you're in a luxury car and there's a different lifestyle. When I think of an RV, even though RVs cost a lot times more than a Mercedes, I don't think of like a luxury car lifestyle. I think of like a simplistic, uh, less materialistic mindset. Even if it costs just as much as more as a Mercedes, like the Mercedes brand, that's what I'm trying to get up. The Mercedes brand to me doesn't match the RV lifestyle, but this is just my opinion. This is just what I'm sharing with you. When I see it, that's what I think about. Milano, pipes will freeze up and blow. They definitely will, and I've experienced that in my life living up north, and you don't want anything to do with that. It's a disaster. Renee says she's owned a townhome. The doors were the cheap ones. Neighbor wanted to replace hers, with a solid wood door. HOA said no, all doors have to be the same. I thought that was wrong. No, I don't think that's wrong. I mean, in my opinion, I understand where you're coming from, but it's not wrong because when you're part of a shared community, the outside has to look common. I agree with that. That's what you sign up for. If you want that individual, if one person says they're going to do a red door, and then the other person says they're going to do a purple, and the other person says they're going to do a black, I mean, it can bring down the value of the shared community because there's no uniformity. So that's part of living in a community. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying what you're saying, Renee, like you don't like that, but then you now have discovered yourself, and yourself is saying you like more individuality, and you would either be good in a single family or RV. So there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe when you bought into a condominium, just like me, you weren't aware of what you were getting into because you were still trying to learn this world and know yourself. But I don't think the HOA is wrong. I just think that maybe you've learned yourself better and you say, well, this isn't for me. But like I had that debate because I got involved with my HOA a little bit, and I kept it positive because I appreciate where the HOA is coming from. Just like I appreciate where cops are coming from, etc. Like I try to think in other people's shoes. And there was a debate about, putting up Christmas decorations, etc. And I said, look, we live in a community of a lot of different faiths. I said, so do you want like a religious contest on who can put up the most decorations? And you could have one person putting up Christmas ones, then the other people are going to go fanatic. You had some people that they were into death metal. They're going to put up like crazy Halloween, murder, type decorations, and some people were offended by that. So when you live in a shared community, sharing the pool, sharing all the resources, you got to keep things neutral on the outside, and then inside, do whatever the hell you want. But that's part of an HOA. That's part of a community. When you want to live more independent, you got a little bit more freedom, and then you have to take care of yourself. So that's the trade-off. But you don't know that until you get involved. I didn't know that until I got involved. So that's part of life again. Part of life is learning from experience. Locks, a good rap group, they used to say that's what it stood for, learning off experience. I don't know if that's true, but I remember that's what they said. But it is true, as far as learning off experience, and then as you learn yourself better, you make better decisions because then you know what you like and what you don't like. And I think that's wisdom. And it leads to a better quality life. Milano, you can finance that 10 years or 20. No, definitely. If you get a Class B, if you get pretty much any RV, they'll do up to, I've seen some that'll do up to 20. The most, on average, what I've seen is most RV dealerships want to do 15 max, but I have seen some that'll do 20, especially a Class B because it's a high. It doesn't lose value as quickly as other ones, especially in a good economy like this. But you just got to remember, people say, they always say, and I fell into this trap too, so I'm not saying this in judgment. I'm saying this to expose it, to give you knowledge. Poor people only look at the payment per month. Poor people only look at the payment per month. I did that too. You're not looking at with interest over time how much you're paying. And interest on an RV is not the same as interest on a house. It's not tax deductible. From my understanding of the tax law. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So, I mean, obviously, unless you're going to say it using it as a business or something like that, I mean, obviously, there's always different ways to get around tax laws. I don't want to get into that conversation. All I'll say with you is, just like a car, you go to a car dealership and they say, oh, it's going to be $500 for 60 months. So 60 months, 5 years doesn't seem long until you're into year 2 and you say, oh shit, I'm not even halfway there yet. So that's for a car. An RV is a big car. So to finance an RV for 20 years, It's a long ass time. That's most of your life. That's a quarter of your life. Just about. A little less than a quarter of your life. So, but is there anything wrong with that? No. Would I do it? Possibly. I'm not, so again, I'm saying this just to share. This is a conversation. I'm not saying this is what you should or shouldn't do, because it all depends on the season you're at in life, where you're at financially, what you want to do, and what works for you, what inspires you, etc. So, but these are just thoughts that I have when I think about all these different decisions. But this is a good conversation to have. Good job, Milano. John Cleary. John Cleary said he had a 2010 Dodge Grand Caravan. Had plenty of room for two, no problem. Amen with that. Dodge Caravan, two people. You guys were living in it full time, John? Sailing John says, yo, don't forget about the sailboat lifestyle. Laugh out loud. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, John. I got to remember that. Yeah, Sailing John is living full time out of his sailboat in New Jersey, and next year you could be traveling to Florida. I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to forget you. Thank you for reminding me. Always remind me, or else I'll forget about you. Remember, that's what a guy in business taught me one time. I was trying to, get somebody a job. He says, Sam. And I used to come up to him after the meeting. And he says, Sam, don't feel bad about coming up to me and me not remembering. He goes, the only way you get shit done in this world? You stay on people's mind. He goes, so, just because I didn't, remember you or whatever, don't take that offense. Don't be stupid. He goes, you come to me, keep asking. That's how you get shit done. Because everybody forgets. You got to follow up. Good job, John. John's living full-time out of his sailboat. Check out John's channel and subscribe. John, are you up to 100 subscribers yet? I know last night I think it was 94. Milano says, compared to a road trek, it's cheap. No, definitely. Road trek, I think, is overpriced, in my opinion. Now, there's different types. The guy I was watching on YouTube, Rusty, he was looking at Road Trek Simplicity, which I believe was the base model. But even that was in the 60s, 70s. So, yeah, most road treks I've seen around 100. That's too much for me. But, again, this is my personal preference. I say do whatever you want. Oh, Edison Eagle, South Edison House. Spent a whole day fixing my dryer vent. God bless you, brother. I don't miss those days. I had those days, and I don't miss them. Pipe in my condo and patching the drywall. Damn it. I feel your pain, Edison Eagle. But planning a nice long road trip to Florida in February. Praise the Lord. Going to sleep in my 2010 Subaru Forester. Amen, Edison Eagle. Me and you on the same page, brother. And I'm hoping maybe I can come back in Florida in February. In January, I don't think it's going to happen unless I fly. But, yeah, I don't miss those days, man, fucking with that dryer vent. But what I am glad that you have hope and that you have a vision to come down to Florida in February, because it's going to be fucking freezing. In New Jersey in February, Milano, you don't even want to know what it feels like in New Jersey in February. You don't want to know, okay? So, what I say to you, Edison Eagle, brother, pack up that Subaru Forester and get your ass to Florida, man. Live your dream, man. Live your dream. Now, even when you live your dream, if you had a condo like I do, you got to keep that damn heat on. Or else the pipe will bust, or unless it depends on how you living. But you got to think about all that when you wrap up. But get down to Florida. Thanks for sharing, Edison Eagle. Start back. I remember when I was younger, my neighbor's basement flooded. Yep, here we go. Because the pipes froze, it's a disaster, and busted. That's what happens. He says he remembers the neighbor waiting a week before the HOA brought someone out there. Star Pack. Thank you for sharing, brother. That's what happens. That's that house life, man. And that's that house life living in up north area in America. It gets cold as hell. Pipes bust. Shit happens. And the only way to keep pipes from not busting, you got to keep that shit heated. You got to spend more money. It's a pain in the ass. Whew. Not a go for me, man. It's not a go. I had that life. I don't want that life. Thanks for sharing, Starpack. Milano. Craigslist is a good thermometer for the cost. Yeah, well, one is respect you, Milano, but I don't like Craigslist, man. I don't fuck with Craigslist. I just, me personally, I know a lot of people that do Craigslist. I don't like the interface on Craigslist. I feel like Scam Central when I go on Craigslist. I don't do Craigslist, but I respect other people. I know a lot of people have done it and get good deals out of it. But I don't feel comfortable with Craigslist. But I would agree if you wanted to use it as a price barometer, maybe, a thermometer. But I usually Google it. I've seen RV Trader and different things like that. I mean, there's so many different websites. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Craigslist. Oh, and then next comment he says RV Trader. Yeah, I've used RV Trader. I agree with that, Milano. Milano, if you look, you will find what you like. Well, I agree with that. Any decision is based on good research. You want to do good research prior to getting to decision-making process. That's part of wisdom. So do your research. I totally agree, especially before you go to a car dealership or before you go to an RV dealership. You don't want to go to one of those dealerships without doing your research on basic average costs, etc., etc. Because once you get into that car dealership or RV dealership, you know what happens? Emotion. Once you get hit with that wave of emotion and you see yourself in that RV traveling and you love it, it's got all the knickknacks, you don't get what's the payment? I'll take it. So just be careful. You understand what I'm saying? There's a million cars out there. There's a million RVs. Do the research before you go to a lot. Never forget it. And only talk to the sales guy when you're ready. Only talk to the sales guys when you're ready. You have to be firm and say, look, I'm just looking today. I don't want to talk about it. They're going to want to talk to you. That's their job. Even when I did that video from the Toyota dealership, there's a guy that came up to me. And he was a nice guy. He was a salesman from Toyota. He said, can I help you? I said, look, today I've been through it. I said, look, I'm just looking. I respect you. I said, I'm just looking. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want any help. He goes, no, okay. He goes, let me just leave you a card. And if you've got any questions. And, he was eyeing me up the whole time. So that's what I'm saying. Because they're okay. Even if you say you're just looking today, what they want to do is they want to engage you in conversation. Because they know it's an emotion. Like a lot of people commented on a video I made with the Toyota Prius. Sam, you sold me on it. And it's not that I sold you, it's that when you first go to a dealership and when you look at a car, you get excited. And that's why salesmen, they want to keep that conversation going. Because if they catch you in that emotional moment, you're going to sign up. You want to go, you don't even want to talk to a sales guy when you're going just to look. You got to fight them off lovingly and respectfully. Go look at everything and walk away from that dealership for at least 48 hours. And then with research and with a calm mind, then go back and then do your test drive and then do whatever, because that's how that whole process gets hairy. You understand what I'm saying? Praise the Lord. Let me get to some comments. Let me just drink a couple pieces of ice so I can catch my breath. Praise the Lord. Let me get back to the comments. Renee says, yep, she sold her townhome, I believe that says. Sold her townhome, but she was thinking about safety. More solid door, but now working towards her road trek. Oh, Renee's going for that road trek. I'm not mad at you, Renee. Renee, let me know when you get it, if you do get it, what model and what color. What's your favorite color that you think you may get? Just for fun talk. Milano, La Massa Special Class C, $49K. That ain't bad. That's brand new, Milano? John Cleary, retracted. Okay, that's okay. Milano, La Massa is a big dealer like Camping World. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. And that's in Port St. Lucie, Milano? John Cleary said no. Milano says, yeah, Melsa, I know the salesperson in case you need help. Okay. When I'm ready, I'll definitely get a holler at you, Milano. And anybody in Florida, get at Milano. He's a good guy. American Writer. That's my editor. American Writer corrected me the other night. I want to say it again. I was wrong on the UK currency. Thank you, American Writer. American Writer also corrected my... that's how I first came to know American Writer. One of my first videos, I forgot I spelled something wrong. American Writer said, you spelled that wrong. I was, all right, let me correct it. So I consider now American Writer as my unofficial editor / fact checker. Okay? And that's what I see. That's my prophecy for American Writer. He is going to be in some type of profession, or he's going to serve in some capacity as an editor. Okay? And that's what I see for American Writer. American Writer says, follow up and layer up. That's right. Now I'm getting close to up north. So pray for me, pray for me, pray for me. I'm seeing that temperature gradually decrease. American Writer says, hi, Dr. Sam. Hello to you, my favorite editor and fact checker. Blessings to you, American Writer. Milano, look online, inventory. They have many locations through USA. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to check them out. That's a good suggestion. I never heard of them. Oh, you know what? You know what? You say that. I was watching some Nomad channel with some girl. I think she's going to the RTR, an older lady. She just recently bought a used Class C. She might have said she got it from that That sounds familiar. Maybe she got it from that dealership because it sounded like, I thought that was like the name of town she was in. But maybe that's the dealership. So I'll take a look at them. John Cleary. Mostly for camping, but could once in Seattle, he was homeless on the street for 8 months. A minivan could have lived in it indefinitely. Oh, powerful testimony, John. Thank you for sharing, brother. Blessings to you. So John's had some interesting life journey. He uses his minivan, I'll just say minivan, mainly for camping. But once in Seattle, when he lived in Seattle, he was homeless for 8 months, and he lived in his minivan, and he could have lived it indefinitely. And I agree with that. I mean, that's what you learn. Like, it sounds shocking to live out of a car, and I would have thought the same thing. 5 years ago, you'd have told me that. But you really do, after you strip away a lot of the materialistic things, you realize how much less you can live on. And now it's relative. Some people are going to want the RV Class B. All I'm trying to say is, on average, based on what society sells you, you need less than what you think. And good comment, John. Thank you for sharing your journey, brother. Oh, May West from Brooklyn, giving 4 hands up emoji. Hey, Mess. Hey, May, how are you? Milano, you big roller. Laugh out loud. Yeah, big roller. It must be I'll say how much I lost. Moving is the key. That's right. Milano, I put gas, Sam. Oh, he goes to Sam's Club. He spent $2.22 a gallon. I filled up this morning, Milano. I spent $2.39 a gallon. I got an interesting question for you, Milano. In your Class B plus, Milano's got Class B plus. Do you use regular gas, or does that thing take diesel? Or I use regular in my Jeep Renegade. StarPack. StarPack says, it saddens me that I see people out of school buying expensive sports cars. Well, I did it, so I have to admit that. All you need, such a young age, is a reliable, cheap vehicle with a good miles per hour, per gallon. I agree with that, brother, but I fell that victim as well. And that's why, to recap, what are 3 things that are used to control people? Financial. People are controlled through financial means. Emotional means are the second one. People can control you emotionally through guilt trips, through seduction, through attention seeking. And when someone can't control you financially, and when someone can't control you emotionally, what do they resort to? Physical intimidation. Those are the 3 areas, financial, emotional, and physical, in which people use to control you. And sometimes you put yourself in that prison. You lock yourself up because you lock yourself up financially, and you're controlled by the banks, etc. So just be mindful. John Cleary says, do you have a PayPal account for the coffee fund? Well, I have a PayPal account, but I don't. If that's like referring to like for donations and stuff, no, I don't do that. I don't accept any donations, but I don't do any of that. I don't believe in that. I mean, I work a full-time job, and I'm blessed. I'm in good shape. So if that's what you mean, but I just use yeah. I mean, I have a PayPal account, but just like for my own thing, but not for any donations. I don't want any donations. Yeah, I got knocked off floppy, but thank you. Yeah, if that's what that meant. Yeah, I don't want any donations. I don't need any. I'm in good shape. I'm blessed, very thankful, and we push forward. Thank you, John. Milano, Sammy, where are you now? I'm just about out of Florida, right on the borderline, and very sad, Milano. But I'm also thankful. What are you gonna do? You understand what I'm saying? I got to go back to work. Got to be thankful for my job. I'm looking forward to seeing my mom. I'm not looking forward to... It's fucking snowing right now, Milano. In New Jersey, it's snowing right now. John will tell you, if Sailing John's still in the room, I looked on a Facebook feed, like from one of the Jersey Shore things. It's fucking snowing. It's going to not be easy. It's a huge adaptation. I mean, just a day ago, I was in 80-degree weather. I mean, already now, in northern Florida, it's like 46 degrees. I'm thankful. I got to be thankful. And I got to push forward. And we go from there. Praise the Lord. I am thankful. And it was a good night. I appreciate you guys sharing and letting me share. And stay inspired. Don't let someone control you. Don't get into a seduction thing where you can control. Just don't let money, don't let emotions, and don't let physical intimidation control you. Be free. Be yourself. Renee says, don't be sad, Sam. It will be a new year with new opportunities. Keep the faith and keep your chin up. And she gave a smiley face emoji. I received that. Thank you, Renee, for that positive, inspirational quote. I receive it. And Celine John says, good night, brother. Good night to all. Love, peace, respect. Be yourself. Stay inspired. Thank you.